When the lights fade, the world holds its breath. The drums hit, the crowd erupts. From WWE to AEW, from NWA to TNA, all the way to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is where legends rise. Aaron loves wrestling. Let's begin. Let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, we talking big lift. To the NWA roots, Powerrr in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, we live for the grind. Step into the ring, hear the heartbeat thump. Pyro in the sky, let the bass line jump. From the classic days where the legends were made, to the modern era warriors never afraid. We break down drama, every shock, every twist, every dream match moment that you couldn't resist. From Tokyo Dome nights to the big raw stage, from Powerrr studios to AEW rage. This is passion, combat, the soul of the show. We bring the breakdown, the hype and the glow. Every slam, every dive, every storyline ride. I'll let you where the love never dies. I'll let you where the love never dies. Boom, let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, yeah, we talking big lift. To the NWA roots, Powerrr in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, yeah, we live for the grind. We talk kings, icons, the rookies on deck. Champions with the gold hanging right on their neck. The moments that shock you, the promos that hit, those fight forever chants. Yeah, we feel all of it. We salute every brand, every style in the ring. Strong style, lucha libre man, wrestling is king. From old school brawls to the high-risk flights, we celebrate the craft and the love of the fight. Podcast vibes with that pay-per-view feel. Every episode hits like a main event deal. Aaron on the mic, yeah, he keeping it real. Breaking wrestling down with that champion feel. Yeah, breaking wrestling down with that champion appeal.
When the crowd goes silent and the bell echoes through the arena, when destiny calls, we answer.
This is for the fans. This is for the passion. This is wrestling. Boom, let the storm hit. Feel the world shift. WWE and double, here we talking big lift. NWA roots, TNR in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Legends rise up when the fire aligns. Aaron loves wrestling where the world collides. From the square circle to your speakers, this is Aaron loves wrestling. Let the love for wrestling live forever. When the lights fade, the world holds its breath. The drums hit, the crowd erupts. From WWE to AEW, from NWA to TNA, all the way to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is where legends rise. Aaron loves wrestling. Let's begin. Let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, we talking big lift. To the NWA roots, Powerrr in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, we live for the grind. Step into the ring, hear the heartbeat thump. Pyro in the sky, let the bass line jump. From the classic days where the legends were made, to the modern era warriors never afraid. We break down drama, every shock, every twist, every dream match moment that you couldn't resist. From Tokyo Dome nights to the big raw stage, from Powerrr studios to AEW rage. This is passion, combat, the soul of the show. We bring the breakdown, the hype and the glow. Every slam, every dive, every storyline ride. I'll let you where the love never dies. I'll let you where the love never dies. Boom, let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, yeah, we talking big lift. To the NWA roots, Powerrr in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting WWE to AEW, from NWA to TNA, all the way to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is where legends rise. Aaron loves wrestling. Let's begin. Let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, we talking big lift. To the NWA roots, TFI in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, we live for the grind. Step into the ring, hear the heartbeat thump. Pyro in the sky, let the bass line jump. From the classic days where the legends were made, to the modern era warriors never afraid. We break down drama, every shock, every twist, every dream match moment that you couldn't resist. From Tokyo Dome nights to the big raw stage, from Powerrr Studios to AEW Rage. This is passion, combat, the soul of the show. We bring the breakdown, the hype and the glow. Every slam, every dive, every storyline ride. I'll let you where the love never dies.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Aaron Loves Wrestling Podcast here, and I am your host, Dr. Love himself, Aaron. And as you can see, I am here to talk about the roots of professional wrestling. The roots of professional wrestling. Let me fix this here. There we go. The roots of professional wrestling. And what is that? That is the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. And if you don't know a lot about it, I'm about to give you a little bit of history about it. I am 32 years young. I did not grow up in that era. My dad told me a lot about that era. But I have also talked with fellow wrestling fans that I'm friends with that did grow up in that era, and they have told me it was one of the best times. Some say the best time in professional wrestling history. Even me, as of learning about it quite a bit as of late, as doing some research and reading about it, listening to the videos myself on it, I appreciate it more than what I see today. You know, I love WWE. I do love AEW. It's what we got today. I love TNA wrestling, NWA Powerrr, that has revived the spirit of the NWA and the territories, which I'll get to that here later. And I love many different wrestling promotions. I love New Japan as well. There are a lot of different wrestling promotions that I love. But I really appreciate the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. I really appreciate that era. After learning a lot about it, to me, that was professional wrestling. That was one of the best times in our history as wrestling fans. And we can't forget our history. We can't forget our history because that's what paved the way to what we have today. Now, I want to say some controversial things. Some may agree with me. Some may disagree with me. But that's the beauty of it. It's my opinion. If you have your opinion, I have mine. So we're going to get into this. And I'm going to go a little brief history, nothing in really detail. I'm going to give a little brief history of the NWA. And then maybe my next episode, continuing this series, I'm going to try to continue this series a little bit more. And I'm going to talk more in depth about each region, each independent promotional region and their style, the promoter and everything, because this is something that after learning a little bit about, I really appreciate this time, this era of professional wrestling, and going back and rewatching the old tapes and watching the matches and how everything was done. I wish we had that back. I really do. I wish the NWA didn't go away. I wish all the other promotions didn't go away. I wish we still had, we still got it. The NWA Powerrr, can't forget that. It's not as big as you used to, but hopefully, as more fans get invested into the NWA Powerrr, that is, with all the new territories that they got now, which I'll go in depth here in a little bit later. We can bring that style of wrestling back. We can make it as big as it once was, because I've seen a lot of people complain about WWE. A lot of people complain about WWE and how things are done and how it's booked. And if you ask me, there are times where WWE can, I don't know, they focus more on the production instead of more on stories and wrestling. And then you got to think of AEW. Now, they focus on more of the wrestling than they do stories, and little on the production side of it. TNA, they're kind of a blend in a way, but they're not as big as they used to be. New Japan Pro Wrestling definitely focus more on wrestling and tournaments and things like that. So although I do enjoy today's wrestling, I'm a fan of many wrestlers that we see today. I still appreciate NWA in the Territory Days, and I appreciate what Billy Corgan is doing with NWA Powerrr and the territories that they have brought back with other independent promotions to bring back this style of the NWA. And let's list off many reasons why I love it. But let's get into it here. It began in 1948. There were a lot of different independent promotions, and they all came together under this National Wrestling Alliance. Each one had this pretty much a handshake deal of, we'll work together, but we'll also respect one another and our boundaries. We won't cross that line of invading a territory to try to draw fans to our territory, or try to steal your wrestler or your top star and sign them over to us. That was the handshake agreement of everybody under this alliance, under this unity, I would say, of professional wrestling, that brought in a lot of fans, a lot of money, and to me, it all made more sense then than what we see today. They all had a shared system of champions, a talent, as I just discussed. And the champions is one of the key things I'll talk about here in a minute. They also promoted, and speaking of champions, the NWA World Champion. What you see is the 10 pounds of gold, the big gold belt, if you will, that WWE inherited from when they purchased WCW, because WCW got that from the NWA. Ric Flair has the original NWA big gold belt, if I'm not mistaken. But the 10 pounds of gold belt, the NWA belt, that you also see on NWA Powerrr, who is the champion, is Thrill Billy Silas Mason, that was the world champion. There weren't two world champions. That's one thing that bugs me about WWE. There are two world champions. You have the WWE World Heavyweight Champion and the WWE Undisputed Champion, which are both world champions. That is one thing. You got two top world champions. I love this system because you have one world champion. All the other promotions had their heavyweight champion, their top champion, and they also had different title belts that represented different things, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But the NWA World Champion, the 10 pounds of gold, that was the guy. He was the guy, the man, if you will. Woo! That everyone wanted to be, and that was the title that everybody wanted. Yes, they loved their heavyweight title, or their TV title, or their national title, or but they wanted to be the world champion. And winning those other titles helped them take those steps to get there to be world champion. And that is what I love about that, because that just makes more sense. Because you have, like I said, WWE, you get two world champions. You get the WWE World Champion, WWE Champion, and they're basically the two top guys. I don't like that. I like one world champion. There's just one. I liked it when WWE had it back in around 2015, 16, when it was just one. It was WWE World Champion. Then you had Intercontinental, United States, and that was it. That's what I enjoyed. Um, I don't like the fact of two top champions. I don't. I just it just takes away the value of being a world champion, in my opinion. Yo, Chris, what's up, man? Pause, y'all. I want to point this out. Harley Race was my favorite NWA World Champion during the disco era in the 1970s. Thank you for sharing that. Please share more. So yeah, that is that is what I loved about the system that they have. The territory system, how it worked. You had it divided with each independent regional promotions. Each promoter respected their boundaries, as I mentioned before. The wrestlers traveled to territory and learned of the different styles that each one had of the territories. Each one had their different style. Bill Watts in the Mid South, Jarrett and Jerry Lawler, excuse me, the King. The one that did commentary with Jim Ross, WWE Raw. They had Memphis Wrestling. They had their style. Florida Championship Wrestling, which was led by Eddie Graham. They had their style. Georgia Championship Wrestling. Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. That was Crockett Promotions. World Class Championship Wrestling, which was led by the Von Erichs. Watch that movie. I highly recommend it. In the Pacific Northwest, which was by Don Owens, you had these different promoters. You had these different territories that had their different style of wrestling. There's different style of champions, of stories, and everything. And many wrestlers went and traveled. That's why traveling back then was really, really tough, because they traveled from to one region to another to face other wrestlers or the championships and things like that. You didn't just have them in one company; you had them traveling to each company and drawing fans to that company, especially the world champions. World champion, like I said, he was the big dog. He was the man. And when anytime the NWA World Heavyweight Champion came to town, everybody was rushing in, was wanting to buy tickets and see who he was facing, who he was putting the belt on the line against, and everything. That is what I appreciated about this system. The NWA champion drew big crowds in every territory. And I mentioned all the different regions, and each region had their top star. Um, you had Ric Flair. He was basically the face of NWA, the man. He held the title on record 8 times, but there's the 9th reign where everybody has their different opinions on. Dusty Rhodes, he was a top star. Harley Race, as Chris just mentioned, he was his favorite NWA World Champion. You had Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog was one of my dad's favorites from that era. And in the Von Erichs, which is the World Class Championship Wrestling, Ricky Steamboat, Roddy Piper, Ted DiBiase, Magnum TA, which going back to looking up Magnum TA, he would have been my guy, because I liked his style. I loved his wrestling, his moves. Magnum TA would have been my guy. If I was around at that time in that era, he would have been my guy. And then you had the Funks. Each territory had their top stars and their wrestlers. Each territory had their guy. And that is what I love and appreciate about the NWA, again, and the system that they had. Why it worked. Each region delivered a unique flavor of wrestling, something different. It wasn't just, WWE, this is what we do. AEW, this is what we do. And in a sense, there is some of that territory aspect with these different wrestling promotions, WWE, AEW. NWA Powerrr even. But then, each territory, each region had their top guy, and they wrestled under this system to where they wrestled one another. I mean, imagine Cody Rhodes going to AEW and challenging the AEW champion, Samoa Joe. Or CM Punk, the W World Champion, going to TNA and challenging the TNA World Champion. Or, that if we had that kind of system today, just think of the dream matchups that we could have instead of, oh no, WWE is sticking to WWE, AEW is sticking to AEW. And, I mean, TNA is kind of affiliated with WWE, but they mainly face NXT. NWA Powerrr, they're not really affiliated with anyone, really. Maybe we'll see them affiliated with WWE in the future. Don't think AEW with a lot of the blood that's going on lately. But might see that with WWE in the future. Maybe not. They just do their own thing, which I'm fine with that because I enjoy watching every Tuesday on Roku, which you can check out tonight. New Japan. Imagine New Japan sending some guys over to WWE and seeing some dream matchups with that one. Imagine that today under this system. But then that's what you had. Fans felt a local loyalty to their hometown heroes, like Ric Flair. He was the guy, the man, the top world champion. Dusty Rhodes in Florida, Harley Race in St. Louis, Junkyard Dog in the South, the Von Erichs in Texas, and each one had their own local hero that they got behind to go up against the heel, or maybe the other promotion's heel or something like that. It was really, really, really cool. Let's see what Chris has to say here. I'm going to pause. He said, David Von Erich versus Harley Race, my favorite wrestling feud in the NWA in the early 80s. For the race for the world title, David Von Erich would have been the NWA world champion longer if he didn't pass away. I agree with that. The Von Erichs versus Race and Flair for the NWA World Title is my favorite 1980s feud. The dynamic duo, Chris Adams and Gino Hernandez. Man, Chris is just spitballing here with some history. Appreciate it, though. Mid-South Wrestling, UWF was on WTPS in 85, but it was short-lived. Yep, I'm going to get into that here later. Yeah, appreciate it, Chris. Keep all going. I love it. But, yeah, each fan had their local hero and what they who they got behind and who they loved. There were slow burn storylines that created deep emotions and feuds, just like what Chris was talking about with some of these feuds he was talking about that he got to witness. I wish I did. I got to go back and watch it, but it ain't nothing but living in that time and watching it play out in front of you and witnessing it and live in a living color. But they had the slow burn storyline. Nowadays, everything just seems rushed. Everything seems rushed. I mean, you got AEW doing a promotion every 2 to 3 weeks, and WWE doing not a promotion, a pay-per-view. You got WWE doing the same every 2 to 3 weeks, TNA, et cetera, et cetera. There's no spacing it out and giving it room to breathe and letting these stories build. It's all, we got 4 weeks until the next pay-per-view. So let's build something for the fans to get behind. And then the next pay-per-view, we got to do something else. The next pay-per-view, there's nothing solid to really get behind nowadays. Everything's just rushed. So somebody told me we live in a microwave society. We want it now. Back then they was living in that stove, the oven society. But everything's rushed now. We got to get to the next PLE. We got to put this, and then championships. I mean, my gosh, title belts nowadays flip-flop more than anything. Back in the day, they didn't. Back in the day, there was a champion, and that champion held the belts for a long while to establish, yes, they are the champion. They are the guy. Who's going to stop them? One thing I love that we've seen as of late was Roman Reigns going on a 4+ year title reign. We won't see that again. I want to with someone else, like maybe Cody Rhodes or Braun Breaker or something, but we won't see it again. We won't. Many fans complain, and as you talk about it again, I see the comments. Fans complain, but no, we don't need someone with a 4-year title reign, blah, 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 5-year title reign. I mean, it to me, it brings more percent. Why do people say that Roman Reigns elevated the title belts? Why do people say that Roman Reigns elevated and made prestigious the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship? Why? Because he held it for so long. He became that guy, the final boss, the man that, crap, who's going to beat him? We sent Finn Balor, we sent Drew McIntyre, we sent Seth Rollins, we sent Kevin Owens, and et cetera, et cetera. Even Cody Rhodes once had to send him twice. And he made them prestigious and elevated them because of how long he held them and the star power that built up over time with that. But since then, what have we seen with with the title belt? It flipped. Cody Rhodes held it for a year. To me, that was great. I loved it. Many fans didn't. Of course, you got to have the stories and the feuds and the right feuds and everything to go with it. But that is why it's important to build top stars. And in NWA, you had that. A lot of people had their top stars, their top champions to challenge the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So that is why we see. That's why we don't see that today. And you see a lot of negative comments about wrestling today because it's not like this. If it became like this again, I guarantee you, a lot more fans. If we had a pay-per-view where WWE and AEW came together and their top stars faced each other, imagine the revenue. Imagine the ticket sales. Imagine the fans pulling in. You talk about record-breaking fan attendance. You talk about record-breaking ticket sales. You talk about record-breaking viewerships and ratings for both companies, especially on their shows leading up to this big pay-per-view. Imagine that. But no, their egos, their pride, it gets in the way. No, we got to be the top dog. No, we got to be the top. They always want to top one another. Instead, hey, how about we work together and maybe we can draw some more money out of it? Imagine some top feuds that we could see between the two companies. We won't see that, but imagine that. Imagine it. Wrestlers learned all styles: brawling, the technical style, high flying, southern style, strong style, even. You had different wrestlers having their different styles. And finishers were finishers. Yeah, I didn't have to see 9 AAs or 10 Superman punches or 4 or 5 crossroads to see a match end. No, once someone hit their finisher, the DDT, the tornado DDT, or the submission hold, that was it. There wasn't, they're going, no, that was it. A finisher was a finisher. And nowadays you see a finisher 3 to 4, 5, 6 times, which tarnishes the finishing move. It's just another move. It is not a finishing move. I'm sorry, if I got to see somebody super kick somebody in the mouth 10 dang gum times, that's not a super kick. That's what I loved about Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin Music. When he hit the super kick, that was it. That was a wrap. There wasn't no, they're getting up. There was times when it did with certain wrestlers, which is understandable, like Undertaker when he had the famous match at WrestleMania with Undertaker. He had that because of Undertaker's mystique and his aura and the supernatural aspect. I get that. But when Shawn Michaels hits a Sweet Chin Music on, let's say, Cody Rhodes or Ted DiBiase Jr. like he did back in the day, they had their DX feud, that was it. Finishers were finishers then. Promoters kept wrestling regional. It kept it relatable. It kept it personal. When it was that small and everyone had their own different promotion and their own different hero and their superstars and their roster, it was a special connection. It was something that you can't take back. Now everything's just so big, and you don't get that one-on-one with the wrestlers now. That's why I love going to independent promotions, because I can go and meet these wrestlers, shake their hand. I ain't got to pay $1,000 to get a picture. I can talk to them. When I went to Game Changer Wrestling, GCW, after the match or after the show, all the wrestlers are out there at their tables, getting pictures, shaking hands, and things like that. That's what I appreciate about these smaller independent promotions. And when I go, I'm going to do my best to go and travel to NWA Powerrr and try to visit some of the different territorial promotions that they have. Finances willing, but at least when it's in my area, I'm at least going to go to the Texas one in my area. There's that special connection that you have with those wrestlers, with those even the promoters, because it's, they're not charging an arm and a leg. They want you to come see the show. So when you go and see the show, then you're promoting them, you're supporting them. I love watching on Roku and on YouTube, but I would love to go show because ain't nothing like being there. Ain't nothing like being at the show in front row and then going to get to see the wrestlers, get a picture, talk to them, maybe get an autograph or something, or just talk to them, ask them about things, and get to ask them some questions if they're willing. If they're not, cool, But at least there's that special connection. The business model of NWA. Revenue built on weekly TV tapings and live events. Wrestlers became big stars without national TV. Each territory booked its own story, but honored the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, especially when they came into town. And the NWA board decided who carried the NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt. Each region had their heavyweight champion, which was their top champion. But when the NWA World Champion came around, it was like, okay, now you're the secondary champ. I'm the champ. And if you want to face the champ, you want to be the man, you want to face the man, then you got to beat the man. And that's what I loved about the NWA and the World Heavyweight Championship. The NWA World Heavyweight Championship. He was a traveling champ. He visited all the territories. He visited all the promotions. He wasn't just stuck at one promotion. He visited all the promotions, challenging their heavyweight champions, challenging anybody who stepped up to face him for that world title. He defended the title against each territory's top star, elevated the local wrestlers into big names. Even if that local wrestling big star didn't win, if they put on a good, solid 15 to 30-minute match, because you don't have to win to go over. And that's what a lot of people don't get. People have seen some of their favorite wrestlers lose nowadays, and they're like, they're burying them, blah, blah, blah. No, they're going over more because you're getting behind them more, because you're getting more passionate about them more, because they're losing. So now you want them to win more, and you want them to be the champion more. You want them to be the face of the company more. And that's what it was then, and you see it some play out today. The champions needed legit a list of champions, of NWA World Heavyweight Champion. You had Harley Race, Ric Flair, the Funks, Jack Briscoe, many notable names who held the NWA World Heavyweight Champion that you see today, and they're all legends. They're all legends, and they all inspired somebody wrestling today. You have all these different wrestlers at this time. Ric Flair, the Nature Boy. You got to see him rise to the top as the man, the Nature Boy, the 8-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion who has held that title more than anybody else. You got to see Dusty Rhodes become the American Dream and get to see him move on to face companies like WWF and WCW because of the NWA. Magnum TA, his run in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, Von Erichs, and the Freebirds and their feud in the WCCW. And you had all the different territories having their different moments, their feuds, and everything. And Chris in the comments just mentioned several of them. And I'm sure he'll be mentioning more here shortly, which I appreciate. So that was the beauty of it. Now, what happened to it? What happened to that system? Well, a man, as we know today, that we don't like even more now because of what happened as of late, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He inherited the WWF from his father, Vince McMahon Sr., who was under the territory system as well. Vince McMahon Jr. didn't want to play ball with everybody. He wanted control. He wanted power. He wanted the money. He wanted to be the top promotion. He didn't want to work with anybody. As you see play out with TKO and Tony Khan and all these other promoters today. And so he got out from under the umbrella and he started doing his own thing, running his own. He created WrestleMania and that became a big hit. And he started buying up all these TV times away from all the different promotions. And then he started signing he broke every single rule under the book and he put everyone out of business. He signed all the talents. He even tried to get all their belts over to his company instead of doing his own thing, which he eventually had to because that was NWA's belts. But if you notice, a lot of the title belts that he created resembled NWA. It had an NWA type feel to it. Many of them. If you go look back at one of the old school WWF photos, title. It looks similar to the NWA National Heavyweight Championship or the TV Championship. If you go look at it, it looks similar. There are many times that WWF and even WCW, when they came up, they started to take from the NWA and do their own thing with it, maybe splash a little of their own feel to it, to give it its identity for the company, but they still replicated from those NWA titles, which to me, you can't replicate those titles. And we see on the NWA Powerrr today, you can't replicate those titles. To me, are prestigious and the best looking titles in professional wrestling history. That 10 pounds of gold NWA World Heavyweight Championship belt is the best World Heavyweight title in professional wrestling history. You got the TV title. You got the NWA National Heavyweight Championship, NWA National Heavyweight Championship, the tag team titles, even the Women's Championship. The Women's Championship came along, and it was called the first woman who won it was Mildred Burke, and that's why it's referred to as the Burke nowadays. You had all these different titles that other promotion tried to copy and paste, and let's edit it a little bit, but you can't replicate it because those titles will always be special. Those titles will always be the best. I'm sorry. I mean, you see it up here, this title here, the big W. I know I got it back there just for looks and everything, but I'm not a big fan of the big logo on there. AEW's is a little bit better, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan. I like when it has some designs and some style to it, like you see with the NWA and all the other mid-card titles and everything. You see the legacy of the Territory Days. Modern wrestling uses this story, all the style of storytelling. Like I said, they kind of try to replicate these titles in their own way. You kind of see of the old school formula in AEW and MLW, NWA Powerrr, and GCW when they send wrestlers over to wrestle for their own for other companies. Like you see Tony Khan's. I mean, just as of late, Claudio Castagnoli won the CMLL World Heavyweight Championship over there. Konosuke Takeshita won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship with NXT. You got Stacks winning the TNA International Championship. You had Trick Williams win the TNA World Championship. So you kind of see a little bit of that today. But when you see it, though, especially on WWE side, not so much AEW side, but WWE especially, it's their guys winning their top titles. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to see Frankie Kazarian or Mike Santana go over and defeat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship or CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title. No, you're not going to see that. But under the NWA, you would have. Under the NWA system, the good system, you would have seen that. Wrestlers go on. You have all the why the territory still matters. Why the territory era still matters. It gave us legends. Okay, Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, the Funks, uh, the Von Erichs, the Freebirds, um, Magnum TA, Ric Flair, woo, Ricky Steamboat, Junkyard Dog. The list goes on. That is why the NWA Territory era still matters. Inspires today's creative and wrestler the promotions we see today. Proved wrestling thrives when every region had its own identity. Okay, when each wrestling company has their own identity, it thrives. Okay, when you see AEW have their own identity, it thrives. WWE have their own identity, it thrives. TNA, NWA Powerrr, New Japan, Game Changer Wrestling, etc., etc. These companies thrive when you see them basically when they have an identity, and if they could work together, it would be great when you blend everything. Um, So let's move on to, like I said, the titles. So the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, it's called the 10 pounds of gold, the crown jewel of the NWA. It was the top title of NWA. The NWA World Heavyweight Championship was the top title. You didn't have two top titles. You didn't have an NWA champion and NWA World Heavyweight Champion. No, you had the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He was the man, the top guy to face from each regional promoter or each regional wrestler. He represented the best wrestler on earth in the 1940s to today. The champion traveled the entire territory system. They had long title defenses and legitimate credibility. It wasn't, oh, they were champion for a few weeks to a month or maybe a couple months, and boom, they dropped the belt. It wasn't that. No, they had a long time. I mean, if you go look at NWA Powerrr now, I'm going to point out Kenzie Page, okay? Kenzie Page. She was the NWA Women's World Heavyweight Champion. Guess how long? 2 years. She was the NWA Women's World Champion for 2 years. She held the belt for 2 long years. Thomas Latimer, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He was champion for about 2 years, almost. They have brought that back. You got Brian Idol going on with the NWA TV World Television Championship. He's held it since May, and he's still defending the title. They kind of brought that back, which I love. I do. Now I got to look into all the other territories that they got and see how long their heavyweight champion was. But with the NWA World Championship, whoever held the 10 pounds of gold, that one was the champ, the man, the one everyone wanted to beat, and they had long title reigns. It wasn't a few months. It wasn't a few weeks, a few months. It was probably almost a year, 2 years, maybe 3. And that's what, you got Bruno Sammartino. He was world champion for 8 years. I don't think it was a NWA World Championship, but he was a world champion for 8 years. 8 years. You're never going to see that again. We got it halfway with Roman Reigns for about 4. Maybe never say never. Maybe we'll see it one day. I doubt it because of the way society is today. But back then, you had champions with long title reigns. It wasn't a short reign for a few months, and then the people got tired of the champion, and then they dropped the belt to somebody else that the fans wanted. No, it was, this is the guy. He is the world champion, and they're going to hold that championship until we find someone else who's the next guy or the girl now. It wasn't a flip-floppy type thing with the titles. Lark Bark, I acknowledge you. What's up? Good afternoon to you as well. Legends who carried the NWA World Championship, kind of already mentioned them already. You had Lou Thez. Harley Race, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, and many others. One of the big ones, the big one was Ric Flair. You got Orville Brown, who was the first NWA World Champion in 1948. The Women's World Championship. It is the oldest women's title in professional wrestling history. Now, this man tried to, I guess, piggyback off of, you could say, piggyback off of with the Fabulous Moolah, because she was the longest women's world champion in history, but it was with the NWA Women's World Title, and she held that for almost 10 years. That's right, 10 years almost. She held that title. And the first one to win the NWA Women's World Title, like I mentioned earlier, was Mildred Burke. That's why it's referred to as the Burke. I don't know, but Fabulous Moolah holding the title for about 10 years. You can refer to the title as Fabulous Moolah or Moolah, you know. But that paved the way for women's wrestling. And you see women's wrestling how it is today. And I love how it is today. And it's treated with respect. I hated what Vince McMahon did with women's wrestling. And there was in these big bikini contests, lingerie matches, all these stupid, perverted gimmicks, you could say, instead of treated as legitimate superstars, wrestlers. And I love how they're treated that way today with AEW and WWE and even NWA Powerrr, etc. But even this time, they were treated as legitimate professional wrestlers, and they were putting the belts on the line and things like that. So that's what I love about the NWA Women's World Championship. And it's continuing today. Today, you got the current NWA Women's World Champion with Natalia Markova, and she just recently won the world title. So she is the NWA Women's World Champion, as I just mentioned prior. She defeated Kenzie Page, who held the title for 2 years, which I enjoyed. We'll see how long Markova holds it. Hopefully 2 years, maybe longer. We'll see. But she's a great talent. Go follow her. NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship. And I love the different weight classes. I do. I love it when I see different weight classes, because to me, when I see a junior heavyweight go up against junior heavyweight, heavyweight against heavyweight, super heavyweight against super heavyweight, or cruiserweight, etc., it brings more realism to the match. So I'm sorry, but when I see no disrespect, all due respect to the man, because I'm a huge fan. I love Rey Mysterio. But if I see him go up against Big Show and he wins, although, yes, I'm excited because he's Rey Mysterio and the David versus Goliath type thing, but in the end, when you look at it, it won't really legitimately happen. Big Show would squash Ray. All due respect, Ray. Love you. Love the 619, everything. But the different weight classes with this NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship. And you had many legends who held it. You had Danny Hodge, Justin Thunder Liger held this title. Tiger Mask and others held this NWA Junior World Heavyweight Championship, and symbolized pure athleticism and wrestling skill, because these are the junior heavyweights. They had the athleticism. They were your high flyers or your flip-floppers, your acrobats, and what they're called today. And I would love to see that back with AEW and WWE, of having a junior cruiserweight title and division to kind of separate them from the big boys, where the big boys play, no pun intended, but from the big boys, so that way it can bring more realism into professional wrestling. I mean, you don't see as many big wrestlers as you today as you see back in the day, but you do see some big ones. They're not as huge like your Hogans and Ultimate Warriors and all that, but there's still big ones like Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker even. But you had so moving on to the NWA World Tag Team Championship belts. It was the tag team titles. They were the tag team titles to win. It represented the teamwork, the chemistry, and territory crossing success because they would go and defend these titles with other territories. That tag team and that territory might win the belt. They will be champions. They go over to another territory. They put the belts on the line. That team might win the belts. So you had some titles back in the day that didn't have super long title reigns, but when they had the NWA World Championship and the Women's World Championship, those were the prestigious titles. So they are the ones that got the long title reigns. But when you had these title belts and you had um, the the champions, the tag team going over to each territory defending the champions, that is what one second. Yeah, so that is what the NWA Tag Team Championships represented. And they were defended against other tag teams in the professional uh, wrestling in the other territories. So you had many legendary tag teams that held this belt. You had the Road Warriors, you had Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, and many others who held these tag team title belts. And I love how they would do it for the Crockett Cup, and it would be a tournament to face the champions as well. You had that all the different promoters, tag teams filling in this Crockett Cup tournament, and they would go and face the champs after they win. So I love that as well, that aspect. You had the NWA United States Tag Team Championships. I love that. And I love how NWA Powerrr brought those back, and the belts look gorgeous. And I love the United States title, especially the NWA United States Championship, is my favorite title belt in professional wrestling history. I just love the United States title belt. I love the current WWE United States title belt. I think it looks great. I really love the IWGP United States title belt when it was around. But I love the NWA United States Championship belt more. It looks better. It looks way better. It looks prestigious and everything. And that is my favorite title. So when I see that there were back in the day United States tag team titles, I was like, oh, awesome. It makes it even better. There were the secondary world tag team titles compared to the NWA World Tag Team titles. But it's still they were the workhorse tag team titles, and other tag teams won these belts to prove, hey, we can be the NWA World Tag Team Championship or champions. So when you had these type of mid-card titles, secondary titles to the top title, and these guys and gals won these mid-card secondary titles, how do they carry themselves as champions? How do they hold the title? But how they represent title? But how do they make the title prestigious? How does the title make the wrestler make the title? Those type of things with these belts. When it comes to the world title, they're like, all right, we can strap the belt to him or her or the team, and there you go. And you still see that today. WWE has got that same aspect with the Intercontinental United States, and they even got it for the women's division, and then AEW with the TNT title, Continental title, international title. Now they got a national title, and etc. So you see the same system where today with AEW, WWE, and TNA. I mean, TNA's got the international title now. They got the X Division title. They got the even the women's, the Knockouts title. They need a secondary Knockouts championship though. But you got all these different secondary mid-card titles to see, okay, can we put the title on him or her to elevate them to be world champion? So you see that same system play out today. But that was the NWA United States Championship, which I love. And then I love how NWA Powerrr has them, and they look great. Now you got the NWA World Television Championship. It was defended strictly on TV only, and the time limits were usually about 10-15 minutes. The symbol, it was a weekly symbol of weekly excellence. It elevated TV stars to main eventers, and many legend who carried the belt were Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Dusty Rose, Nikita Koloff, and you see it today. Right now, Brian Idol his hoodie on. Brian Idol is the current NWA World Television Champion, which you can go see my interview with him on my YouTube channel. Um, so you have, but you had many legendary champions hold this belt, or legendary wrestlers hold this title belt, and it elevated them to world champions, and they became legends and Hall of Famers in professional wrestling. The NWA National Heavyweight Championship, which was the original National Heavyweight Championship from the NWA, not AEW. But it was the major mid-card title for the NWA. It represented top rising star of the promotion, and it was carried by Paul Orndorff, Larry Zbyszko, and Austin Idol, and many other legends who held this NWA National Heavyweight Championship. The NWA United States Heavyweight Championship, which eventually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, later was unified with the National Heavyweight Championship, because that was basically the United States Championship. But this is my favorite title, the United States Heavyweight Championship, because I love this title. It was the number one contender title for the World Championship. This basically was the secondary title, and they were basically the number one contender for the title. It was basically the symbol of being the next man up. That's what it was. It later became the WCW, now the WWE United States Championship. But when it was the NWA United States Championship, to me, it was better back then. Legendary wrestlers who held that title belt was, again, one of my favorites from this era, Magnum TA. You had the legend Sting hold this belt, Lex Luger and Ric Flair, and they held these belts. You had now getting to the territory titles. Each region had their championship belt. The importance of a territory championship belt. Each region had its own champion. They represented the local superstars and regional popularity. Helped build main event names before they traveled nationally. And they were the ones going up against the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And who knows, they might even win the title belt. The notable territory championship belts that were the top belts. You had the Florida Heavyweight Championship. You had the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship, Texas Heavyweight Championship, Central States Heavyweight Championship, and Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship. The tag team titles and their territory belts. You had the Southern Heavyweight Championships. You had the NWA six-man tag team championships. Yep, six-man tag team titles went way back then. You had so those are your regional type title belts, and you had many legends hold these titles as well, which elevated them to the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So that is basically the history of the NWA system back then. Again, it was amazing. I loved it, and I'm glad NWA Powerrr brought it back, which I'm going to go over some of the modern belts that NWA Powerrr has. They got the World Television Championship, which, like I said, is held by Brian Idol currently right now. They got the Lucky 7 rule with it, which I think is pretty cool. 7 title defenses will get you in on a world title shot. They'll give you a shot at the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, which I'm hoping Brian Idol will get. You had the NWA National Heavyweight Championship, which is the number 2 man NWA, the number 2 title in NWA Powerrr right now. Who the current champion right now is Mike Mundo. Gut check time. The NWA World Tag Team Championships, which they got the classic look to, which I love. You got the Immortals as the current NWA World Tag Team Champions. You have the NWA Women's Championship. You got them. That title, which, again, Kenzie Page had a 2-year title reign with that belt. And she just recently lost it to Natalia Markova, who is now the current NWA Women's World Champion, who is defending her title for the first time tonight on NWA Powerrr, so don't miss it. And you also have the NWA United States Tag Team Champions, and they are held by the Southern Six right now, I believe. I'm about to go check them out real quick to update you on that. Um, yes, Southern Six, Alex Taylor and Kerry Morton, which Kerry Morton is the son of Ricky. They are the current NWA United States Tag Team Champions. You have the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champions, which is TVMA, which they are the current NWA Women's World Tag Team Champions. You have the NWA Mid Atlantic or Mid America Champion, excuse me, NWA Mid America Champion Jeremiah Plunkett. I love that they brought that Mid America title back. They also have a NWA Women's Television Champion, which is held by Tiffany Knives. Hopefully, I said that right. Knives or Neves. Hopefully, I said it correctly. So yeah, those are. And then the current NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion is Alex Taylor, who is part of the Southern Six with the NWA United States Tag Team Championships. And you got a solid roster on the NWA Powerrr. So I love that the NWA Powerrr, Billy Corgan, brought back the classic look. I love the ring, the red, white, and blue ring that they have, and I love how they brought back the classic look to everything, including the title belts, the style of wrestling, the territories. Which, speaking of the territories, we will talk. I'm going to tell you about the territories right now and who are the current territories. NWA New Mexico, Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, NWA Texas, which Texas style wrestling. You got Crossfire Wrestling, World Elite Wrestling, which was Harley Race's promotion, who's now run by his son. NWA Chicago, who is run by Brian Idol. Exodus Pro Wrestling, who is run by EC3. Joe Kazana, NWA Southeast. Yeah. Southeast promotion, Joe Kazana. You got the Fight the World Wrestling. Those are your territories right now under the NWA territory system, and each one has their heavyweight champion and their exclusive regional champions. But you also have the 10 pounds of gold right now, who is the NWA World Heavyweight Champion with Thrillbilly Silas Mason. And he's great as well in himself. So that's NWA Powerrr and their territories right now. And it can be big like it was back in the day. If us, the fans, can just get behind it and go to the shows, buy tickets, purchase their merch, go to NWAmerch.shop and go purchase their merch. I got me my Brian Idol hoodie here, the t-shirt, which I wore to the gym today, so I'm wearing it right now. It's in the wash. But I also have on the way that my NW flag, which I'm going to put right here, and my NWA banner I'm going to put right here. So I have the AW and NWA. Can't find a WW one, so I don't know where that could be, but I'm going to get an NWA flag. It's on the way. We'll put it right here. And in the future, I'm going to buy some more NWA merch. They got some cool NWA merch, like a jogger set. They got some shirts, some hats. But you also got the wrestlers and their merch. Silas Mason, Mike Mundo, Gut Check Time, Tiffany Knives, or Knives, how you say it. With all due respect, forgive me. Talia Markova, Brian Idol, again. Get your Brian Idol merch right here. And Thomas Latimer, he's another one. You got Trevor Murdoch, he's on there, which if you remember him from WWE with Lance Cade and their tag team. Rest in peace, Lance Cade. So many wrestlers with their merchandise, and you also got NWA Powerrr and how it is today. So it's on the Roku channel every Tuesday, free. So if you have Roku, you can download the app on your phone and watch it. You don't have to have it on your TV per se, but you can download the app on your TV, or download the app on your phone, and on your TV, and watch it. It is they got some great wrestling over there, some great wrestlers to get behind. So we can make NWA the territory system big again. We can. But us as fans has got to do it. We have to put in the work, buy the tickets, buy the merch, and support the NWA, NWA Powerrr, and all the original promotions. Like I said, NWA Mexico, NWA Chicago, Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, NWA Texas, Texas Style Wrestling, Fight the World Wrestling, Kazana's NWA Southeast promotion, Crossfire, which is in Tennessee, I believe, and World League Wrestling, which is, well, like I said, it was started up by Harley Race and is still going today. All these different promotions, independent promotions, which if you go online and you look at the tickets are not that expensive. I can get a VIP type seat and everything, get the meet and greet, autographs, etc. It's $40 to $50. $40 to $50. Which if you go to a WWE show, you're paying an arm and a leg around $5 to $10 or more for something like that. Or if you even to an AEW show, you're paying for over $1,000 for something like that. But for this, for NWA Powerrr, having these kind of ticket sales or ticket prices, you can't beat it. So I'm going to try and go to some of these shows. I'm hoping to go to the one that's happening in January near me in Texas. So I'm hoping I can go to this show. My work schedule, hopefully I'm off. But support NWA Powerrr. Support the wrestlers. Buy the merch. Watch the show. And let's bring NWA back. Let's bring back that NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. Let's bring it back as the top. If you are frustrated the way WWE is going, if you are frustrated the way AEW is going, if you are frustrated the way TNA is going, go check out NWA Powerrr. Go watch NWA Powerrr. Even if you're not frustrated with AEW or WWE, etc., and you're a wrestling fan, go watch NWA Powerrr. It's on the Roku channel. No, I'm not getting paid by them to say this. I am not in an affiliation whatsoever. I'm just a fan of it, and I'm a fan of the territory system. I'm a fan of how things used to be. I really love it, and I love how NWA Powerrr has revived that and brought it back. And I'm going to support them from here on out. And I want to watch NWA Powerrr tonight, and I'm going to support them, and I'm going to buy the merch, and you're going to see me sharing more about it. So with that being said, I appreciate everyone coming in the comments and engaging with me. I appreciate you liking the video. If you haven't, hit the like button right now. Hit the hype button. Share this video. Again, I appreciate NWA Powerrr. I appreciate the old school NWA. And I just love wrestling. So if you're not watching NWA Powerrr, do so every Tuesday on Roku. You can go on the YouTube and check out past episodes as well for the regional promotions anyway. Like Exodus Pro Wrestling just had one on their YouTube channel. Great show. Go watch it. And just support this company and the wrestlers, because these wrestlers are also the future. These wrestlers are also future Hall of Famers. These wrestlers are also future legends of the business. You don't have to go to WWE to be the top star. You don't have to go to AEW to be a top star. You could be a top star where you're at right now, and that is NWA Powerrr. So go support them and go and buy the tickets. Go and watch the shows, because you will be amazed of how much how great the wrestling company is, and how great the matches are, the wrestlers are, and the stories and everything on the show. So go support them. Go support NWA Powerrr. Watch it on the Roku channel. You can go on the YouTube and check out the other promotions and their shows: World League Wrestling, NWA New Mexico, NWA Chicago, Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, NWA Texas Style Wrestling, Fight the World Wrestling, Crossfire Wrestling, and Joe Kazana's NWA Southeast promotion. You can check them out on YouTube. You can check the past shows out, and you can also keep watch for future shows. Buy tickets and go watch the show. That's all I got to say. So if you held on this long to watch and enjoy, I hope you enjoyed this little bit of history of the NWA. Again, I plan on doing another part and talking more in depth about each region. Probably going to talk about next will be the Mid-Atlantic region, or maybe AWA or WCCW or something. I'm going to pick a region to talk about and their top stars and everything of that time. So I appreciate everyone watching this. If you love professional wrestling, hit the like button, hit the hype button, and watch NWA Powerrr tonight. You also get NXT on tonight as well. You can watch both. Come on now. You got the power of technology now. But really, watch NWA Powerrr. I'm out. Love everyone. Appreciate all y'all. And just remember, everyone, professional wrestling. Have a good night, y'all.
When the lights fade, the world holds its breath. The drums hit, the crowd erupts. From WWE to AEW, from NWA to TNA, all the way to New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is where legends rise. Aaron loves wrestling. Let's begin. Let the storm hit, feel the world shift. AEW, we talking big lift. To the NWA roots, Powerrr in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, we live for the grind. Step into the ring, hear the heartbeat thump. Pyro in the sky, let the bass line jump. From the classic days where the legends were made to the modern era warriors never afraid. We break down drama, every shock, every twist, every dream match moment that you couldn't resist. From Tokyo Dome nights to the big raw stage, from Powerrr studios to AIDS all rage. This is passion, combat, the soul of the show. We bring the breakdown, the hype and the glow. Every slam, every dive, every storyline ride. I'll let you where the love never dies. I'll let you where the love never dies. Boom, let the storm hit, feel the world shift. WWE, yeah, we talking big lift. NWA roots, Powerrr in the booth. New Japan warriors fighting for the truth. Crowds roar loud when the spotlight shines. Aaron loves wrestling, yeah, we live for the grind. We talk kings, icons, the rookies on deck. Champions with the gold hanging right on their neck. The moments that shock you, the promos that hit, those fight forever chants. Yeah, we feel all of it. We salute every brand, every style in the ring. Strong style, lucha libre, man, wrestling is king. From old school brawls to the high risk fights, we celebrate the craft and the love of the fight. Podcast vibes with that pay-per-view feel. Every episode hits like a main event deal. Aaron on the mic, yeah, he keeping it real. Breaking wrestling down with that champion appeal. Yeah, breaking wrestling down with that champion appeal.
When the crowd goes silent and the bell echoes through the arena, when destiny calls, we answer.